everyone. I am Dana, and I'm the editor of News is Out and your moderator. Welcome to this special Motherland Fort Salem panel at the Outfronts presented by IMDb, with a special thank you to Freeform for making this all possible. So excited to be here. Half the cast is giggling, half the cast is ready to cry. They have just wrapped season 3. We're a bundle of feelings. So a big virtual welcome to Elliot Lawrence, Taylor Hickson, Ashley Nicole Williams, Jessica Sutton, Amalia Holm, Demetria McKinney. Yeah, everybody. Woo! Thank you all for being here. You're all over the world right now. This is pretty amazing. We don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to dive right in. Let's dive right into the show. Okay. So Taylor and Amalia, from day one, Rayla has been the romantic heart of this show, which is really, really rare to see a queer relationship be the heart of a mainstream show. Can you talk about receiving those initial fan reactions to this relationship?
Taylor?
I was gonna say, go for it.
Well, there's never enough words.
I mean, there was
With love, they hit us across. No, what I know.
You want them to hit you now? Oh goodness!
It's just overwhelming the way they supported us and were rooting for us, and it's understandably that first off, not everyone was happy to see what kind of character Scylla was, teaming like falling in love and seducing our heroine, but then they were kind of okay with it.
Kinda.
Brought so much depth to the character. I think people just sort of accepted your past because you brought so much honesty and pathos to the role. I think it was easy for people to see you beyond your deeds. So I'm gonna give you credit for that.
If I may also, I think it was beautiful in that even though it was a beautifully portrayed queer relationship, it just showed that love is love and it is beautiful. It kind of balanced the checkpoints that everybody was kind of expecting and showed love in this beautiful new way that made them fall in love in a different way.
I really love that the Raelle character didn't just let Scylla off the bat. Like there was some big things there, and she left her to die in the cell. Like it's not like this was an easy win for the two of them. And I think because of that, I find that this relationship is so genuine because it's not just, oh, I fell for you. Yeah. And everything was dreamy and you're impeccable, like you're a perfect person, but rather that we saw all the dirt.
Totally. There's so much gray area explored with this dynamic. And that's something I think that I really cherish deeply. And I've applied to my personal relationships. Where's the push? Where's the pull? I found Scylla and Raelle to be an obvious vehicle for the playfulness of yin and yang, or masculine and feminine. Just that sort of the lightness and the darkness. Balance, challenge, honor, respect. And I think it's taught me so much about myself. I think it's really provided a platform for empathy that I didn't prior have, just having to be put in the mindset of these characters. And a lot of the decisions that were made, I didn't personally agree with or understand. And that's the challenge of our work is, using our characters as a vessel to understand and bringing that into honest storytelling.
I also think their love is so brave, and they each other like on a soulful level.
It's complicatedly beautiful.
Perfectly imperfect. I mean,
that's his life.
From a plot point of view, they're on such different kind of worlds and planes of existence, but from the get-go, the attraction was so real and honest and believable. It just sustained whatever crazy kind of world building stuff we threw at you two to keep you guys apart.
Very to play with. Thank you for the challenge.
Thank you so much, Elliot. This is definitely the most real on-screen relationship I've ever taken part in.
We had so much time to play with it, which
and the characters were so rich. They were Yeah.
You guys play with them with such humanity.
Yeah.
Like-
I also think the love that you all have for each other in real life seeps into that as well, because you love each other as people. And you can definitely see that shine through your work. You know?
I think that's true of all of you guys.
Yeah.
You've become a family in a way. We all have, and it just comes through in the work in such a great way.
But especially with the challenges we were all faced with the pandemic and everything, you know, we really had to show love. We really had to come together, and we really had to find those ebbs and flows and the unity in them.
I was going to say, from a fan perspective, it's very clear how connected you all are as a cast. And I think that's why people fall in love with shows like they do Motherland, because there's an electric connection between every moment between all of you. And it's deeper than just acting. Like, you can tell, like, these are people who actually respect and care for each other.
And who went through a lot to get this puppy done. Get this
Facts.
puppy in the can
But
was
a
a lot.
little pandemic schmemic.
Right.
More than the pandemic.
Oh
We
my
went
God.
through the ringer.
Yeah. That's fair.
Let me
Ash.
tell you.
That's a
Yeah.
fair comment.
Is there anything you can elaborate there, or is that top
Well,
secret?
I'll just get real, like, make it all about me. I got COVID. I was up for the finale and I got COVID right before the last day of filming. So it was like, it was just hard, man. Because I wanted to be there for that helicopter scene, which I won't say anything else about. And just for all of the after stuff and all of the, all of the family stuff, all of the closure we didn't get to have. And it was just such a challenging couple of years to be doing this. I want to give us all a lot of credit for getting through it and getting it done.
You were so missed.
That was
Really?
tough. It was bad luck, man. It was bad timing.
That timing was
Felt like
it was
a
like
cosmic
comic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
a
the
bad
call
joke.
sheet. No, I
Like
saw
all
the
you
call
can do
sheet.
is
It was
laugh
like,
at that.
I know. It said with you in spirit, Elliot. I said,
Did something happen?
I said, he's here.
I
What do
guess
you
I
mean
was
with you
feeling
in
a
spirit?
little emo when I wrote that. I was like, I could have been a little less dramatic with that line. You know me,
I was
always
so
gonna push it.
confused.
Ellie died. Like,
I'm with you
where
in
is he?
spirit.
I messaged everyone. I was like,
These are
what's going on? Hello.
You're directing from the mycelium.
Literally.
I
Hilarious.
had to go in. Yep.
with this next season that we're not allowed to talk very much about, but this next season, finally you two are coming into the same side, which we haven't been. Will that dichotomy of life giver and death bringer really come out to play? And Elliot, you can stop pieces from coming out. We can edit this out, but I'd really love to know what these two have to say about that.
When we find Ray and Sil, I mean, from I think Rael's perspective, so much it's about navigating trust with Scylla and this newfound bond that they're having to rediscover. It's it's new and it has its own challenges. It's understanding that if Rael doesn't allow forgiveness in her partner and as well as herself, that the situation becomes irreparable. I think betrayal, especially within a romantically intimate relationship, especially is very difficult to heal, because this is somebody who understands you most deeply, and maybe even more so in ways that you don't even understand yourself or perceive. And I think that's a great privilege. And if it lands in the hands of someone who might not deserve it, or a manipulator, or even someone who is wielding it for their own benefit, not to be, benevolent, but just it's a great weapon. And I think trust is the embodiment that you fully believe that power will be wielded in a way that's in your best interest. And humans are faulty because we're always working for our own best interest, whether that's something I think a lot of us like to admit or not. So I think this is something that both Rael and myself were grappling with as we moved from season 2 to 3. And I think, I'm very thankful to Elliot and to Brian and the rest of our brilliant writers team for giving us such powerful tools to play with. And I'm very grateful to my scene partner and my on-screen love for just adding so much element to that dynamic. That's you.
Yeah, no, beautiful, Taylor. uh, I and Scylla are very grateful that that's how you two approached the situation, and that you deemed her redeemable, and that there was a way for her to earn your trust again. Because there's a lot of, there's a struggle within oneself. If you've always, like Scylla, she's always claimed and seen herself as someone of good moral codes and just a good person who's willing to give her life for the great cause. Mm-hmm. And to then have to realize that that was wrong, the shame and guilt that will come with can, drag you down. It can really darken your heart and spirit. And just the little hope that there are people out there like Anacostia, like Rael, who will understand that there is good in her, and if she chooses to hold on to it, there's a way to be redeemed and to find love again.
Absolutely, beautifully said.
Yes.
Taylor, I want to stay with you. Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I always felt like Scylla did some really bad stuff, but she had her reasons. She had a very, very tough childhood, growing up on the run and losing her parents in a really shocking way. I can see how somebody with her background could do the stuff that she did, and I forgive you too, Amalia.
That's the gray area.
That's the best part.
But it's you don't think I'm sure she didn't believe that she was doing something just for the sake of committing evil. It was out of the belief that she was fighting for something great, for something that her children could come into a world that she believed would take care of them.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, because of that, that's also adding an element to why it would hurt to realize that you were wrong, because you went in full-heartedly, no doubt that this is the right thing to do, and then you're like, oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Right. I think we talked about this before, Amalia. Like, Scylla has her own moral code that she believes in strongly, and she doesn't think that she's on the wrong side of this equation until much later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. I still don't think that she, speaking of season 2, she doesn't, when she comes into the mall and she sees all the family members and loved ones of the victims of the mall attack, the regret there is all about having hurt these people, not about the action or what she committed, because she would still believe that that was the right thing to do with the information she had at the time. So I don't think she'll blame herself for being, she'll blame herself for having hurt people, but not for believing in what she did, because she did indeed think it was the right thing. And with the information she had and the life experience, it made sense.
The guilt shown is very telling to her consciousness, and I think that is what makes her so lovable, is just, seeing that she broke her own heart in believing that she was working for goodness, and then having to face the hurt. And that affected her.
And then, she's a little bit impulsive as well. The way things went down with Anacostia in season 2, I don't think Scylla stood out of that. That was dirty.
That was wrong.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to tell me.
I appreciate that.
Impulsivity has saved lives as well, though.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there for sure. So Taylor, I wanted to stick with you for a second. Rael was really, really put through the ringer last season. Thanks, Elliot. Losing Scylla, finding her mother, losing her mother, saving her friends, finding Scylla again. Where is Rael's head and heart when we last see her?
Yeah, I think I spoke so much to that already. Just having to navigate betrayal and someone you love most deeply being the cause of that hurt and pain, and having to forgive oneself and forgive your partner. Otherwise, the situation is just beyond repair. Yeah, I think I spoke so much to that already.
No, you're great. You're great. Jessica, I need to talk to you about something.
Okay.
Fan reactions to Talder. And how you guys just really ran with it and were just so fun with fans. Was there a moment when you said, "Oh, this could really be seen as something much more than it is"?
That's an Elliot question because, you know, while it's one thing to just appreciate the fan art and the fan fiction that's coming out, and it's just such a great way of interacting with our audience to see that the show kind of takes on its own life when it's out there on social media. And our specific community, I had tons of fun just seeing the life of Tolda take over the internet for a bit. And it's just, I just give all the credit to our fan base, being that they're like this mycelial network that, most of them are artists in themselves. So they create so much more from the show. I enjoyed the chemistry that organically came up from that scene. And I think that scene is what really sparked the Talder shipping. If there would be a moment, it was episode 8 in season 2. And it's been great to see where the fans have taken it, life outside of the show. I never saw it. I don't know if it would enter. I was interested to see season 3. I knew that Elliot was always going to throw as something that we could never even predict. So Lynn and I didn't even try. But we were just enjoying what we were being given in the moment. And artist to artist, we were just having so much fun on the day. These characters, though, do feel very much like their relationship's complicated. It's mentorship. There's a maternal relationship between Talia and Alder, and a soul connection. So yeah, that's what I will say. Did I see it coming into season 3? Well, that's an Elliot question.
Well, I have an Elliot question about this too. And my question is, was the subtext intentional, or did it just kind of, no?
It emerged in the queer quantum field of the show. It just kind of happened.
This show is so gay, and it's
the gayest
word.
show, and yet it's like not everything is gay, but it's still gay, even if
it's still kind of queer.
That part.
But yeah, I mean, it was something beautiful we just sort of saw in the footage emerging, and I'm not that precious about the world. I am completely flattered that people make art and like erotic fiction and whatever they want to make. Like, I find it really cool. Could it ever happen? Who knows?
When the fans did react this way, did you kind of see it coming based on when you were watching the dailies and everything, saying like, oh, this feels like intense?
We were all feeling it. Yeah, we were all feeling it for sure. It was just a beautiful tension to kind of emerge. Because like Jess said, there's also a lot of kind of important stuff about their relationship that, sexuality or romance could sort of interrupt, but maybe in a fabulous way too. You never know.
Yeah. I think the danger element of this, especially season 1 and season 2, is so much about trust for Tally and Older.
Yeah.
And actually vice versa. I see Older as a very isolated character who's carrying the weight of the world and responsibility, and she has seen so much through the years. And I think Tally, developing her sight, she starts to really understand Older in a totally different way, where you can't unsee what you've seen, and you have to find a way to live with yourself and to keep hopeful. And and so I like Elliot said, there's so much to these characters and to their relationship, that just to have it down to sex, I think, would have overshadowed so much of the complexity. And there is something to be said that the subtext can live there and it feel more alive with it not being said and being subtle than it being explicit. It's something, beautiful in the implicit nature of it.
I think Tally also is so like deeply empathic that you just sort of like experience people in a different way. And you just like kind of become them, you get inside them, they get inside you. Like your boundaries are very permeable as Tally. And I think you just appreciated the fullness of Alder and saw her in a way that nobody's really seen her. And maybe that's what people were feeling too. Just that you were able to really see through 300 years to who this person is underneath.
There's something so relatable to that dynamic and that sort of pansexual attraction of never going there because you know it would cross a boundary you can't come back from, but always feeling the gravity of that tension. And I think that's incredibly relatable, and sometimes giving into it takes the fun out of it, maybe because it's better with that tautness, that intense pull and feeling the weight of everything in the air, and when you're in a room together and sharing space. And I was just like, I've had those people personally in my life, and it was really interesting to watch someone play with that dynamic and not give into the sort of, I guess, like subtlety of the being seduced in every sense, like sexual, romantically, the leadership, that maternal bond. It was such an interesting choice. It was beautiful to watch, you guys.
I mean,
It's spicy.
Very muy caliente.
Spicy.
But I just must say that I love that characteristic about Tally that you just mentioned, Elliot, that she will feel such strong empathy with people and phenomenon and everything, which just makes her site even more interesting. Because what happens when you have all that emotion with it and all that emotional capability to sympathize, like even in season 1, just the fact that Tally's put on that spot in episode 9, is it, or 8, sorry, when led by Anna Costier, all facing the spree trucks coming, and just hitting Tally with that, and the way Tally's just taking that throughout these seasons and growing. It's so beautiful to watch, and it's such a beautiful character.
Elliot Lawrence, given me such a beautiful character, such a beautiful character. Malia, you said it. Elliot, you've said it. I mean, she truly, she's a
Jessica, you did it.
She's a skin diver. Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like someone we know, Jessica.
I don't know what you mean, Taylor Hickson.
As Jessica was preparing for this panel, was doing the most Tally thing possible by had a book for research as we were preparing.
Pulls it out.
Look at the title.
Okay, can I just read you a line from this book?
Please. This is so Tally.
To be dead is to stop believing in the masterpieces we will begin tomorrow.
Purpose. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of masterpieces, the trio, the 3, Ashley, Jessica, Taylor. This trio is so important to Motherland. In season 1, there's lots of clashes, but this platonic love story, this connection between Raelle, Abigail, and Tally, it's so important to the survival of the Motherland world, but also to fans. Why do you think these 3 very different women made this unbreakable connection?
Ash, you take that. You're gonna make
Whoa.
I know you'll be the first one, tears in your eyes, so get it out.
I want to get you crying, Ash.
Stop, playa. Hold on.
Bellwether, you're up.
Report for duty.
Can you ask the question again? The ending of it.
The ending is, why do you think these 3 very different women made this unbreakable connection. And we know it's not just because they were thrust together in this unit.
Why do I think the three of us as characters made this unbreakable connection? Well, I think the three of us as Taylor, Ashley, and Jessica are very different people. And from the first day, we had an unbreakable bond, like not even thrown into the show. And I feel like that translates on screen in everything we do. I feel like we each bring our own beautiful, crazy aspect to our unit. And I feel like the three of us in general do that as well. Like one of our nicknames for each other that Jess calls us, she says, I don't know if one of them's appropriate, but you want to take it, Jess? You got it.
Want them all. We want them all.
No, you got it. Go ahead. You got it. Good.
No, you gotta say it. You gotta finish it. Say it.
There's babs, boobs, and and baby. Yeah. I don't know. I think our complexities are what glues us together. I feel like you need a different aspect to a unit and a different aspect from each person. So, you know, we have the healer, we have the blaster, and we have the seer. And I feel like each one of us in our friendship brings, you know, a beautiful dimension to what is our unit in the three of us. We call ourselves totally spies. So I feel, I mean, but I don't know if I'm making sense at this point, but I just feel like we have to be different in order to form this beautiful unit that we have.
Yeah. Totally makes
and
sense.
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying not to cry.
What we do, though, it can be accredited to our off-screen dynamic. You know, the three of us, we've had so many discussions about how we personally have such strong ties to our characters, and that translation from their blood to ours, and the other way around, it's not so different. You know, we've had 4 incredible years to build a rapport with each other, and it was a choice. It required trust, it required strength and selflessness, and a promise. It was a promise to be a team, to protect each other. And these are things that you see our characters endure. You know, that's the honesty in our storytelling. It was just, you know, it was every day we woke up and we made a choice, and it was a commitment to each other. We chose to show up and be there for each other and be there for our people.
The medal. So eloquently said. I don't know if I'm that eloquent, but it's true. I feel like everything about our dynamic off screen is what makes our unit so strong on screen. Like if I were to tell you that I would come in to a family, honestly, that had already been formed, and bond with these girls right off the bat, had one licking my face while the other was licking barbecue sauce off my pants, you couldn't tell me. Won't say who.
Only at the Outfronts, folks. Only at the Outfronts.
Motherland.
I know. But genuinely, I was so nervous because, you know, they already shot the pilot. They already made this bond within each other. And this is with all 6 of us. Lynn's not here, but in general, I was so scared. And just the open arms that I had coming on to this show, I'm so lucky, and I feel like we're so lucky because a lot of shows you don't have that. I have friends on a lot of shows and they don't get along with their coworkers, and we do, and we genuinely have a family. And I feel like with any relationship you see on our show, you know, that's why they love it so much, because they can feel the love through the screen. And we can feel the love on set, honestly. So
Beautiful, Ash. I just to echo what Ash and Taylor said, I think the reason the trio have the connection is from the place of the that though they're so different.
the place of the what, babe?
Of belonging. That though they are so different, they have this soul connection and they belong together. And that becomes their purpose and their power collectively. And that goes on to serve their greater part, right? because I think if season 3 is summed up in word, it's about destiny. And that goes way beyond what we've explored in season 2 and season 1. That it's bigger than the units. And I think they know, as we can, as much as one can know, there's just a wisdom, there's a knowing that the power of the 3 is just, it's destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And that trust that Tay was talking about, and Ash speaking about how we are together as people and as actors, having each other's backs, feeling safe to be who we are in front of each other, but also challenging each other to be better, to be more truthful. When we get scared, one of my favorite moments that I remember so much.
Here we go. Yes.
Yeah, acting. Sometimes Ash gets scared, or she doesn't feel like she can make the emotion of the scene. It's all there, it's all brimming, but she's feeling maybe apprehensive, or Tay might not feel connected. There's been times where I feel so in my head and so insecure and just having a bad day, and sometimes you take your day to work with you and it's hard to shake it off. And without fail, we would look at each other and sync without words. And sometimes it would just be in a look or holding each other's hands and connecting. So I don't actually think you can ask a why. Like, why do these characters connect? I think we're built to connect as humans. That's what our nature is. Our very nature is connection. And I don't know if there's a why so much as that is just what we do. But I'll tell you that the artists that I'm surrounded with, that I get to go to work with, that I have been so privileged to come to work with every day for the last 4 years, 3 seasons, are so impeccable. And artists of such substance, and people who are so generous, that the performance that I have been able to deliver, if there is, there's credit to be taken, I feel like my very performance lies in my co-star, lies in who I'm acting opposite. And these two, and a trio is a really hard thing as well. I want to say that as well. As an actor, technically, a 3-hander is hard. Energy-wise, there's a balance, there's an equilibrium that you have to hit. You have to constantly feeling each other. And it's that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And
Juggling.
it's
Literal juggling.
Yeah.
Literal juggling.
Because if the balance falls too far to one side, it's felt by everybody, and balance is much trickier when there's a third element.
Yeah. Sorry. So
I love the question. Oh, sorry.
No.
Yes. I was going to say to Dana, I love the question because there's more to say about this combination of young women, these 3, and the precise combination of their personalities and their temperaments without giving away too much. That chemistry is something that the world is going to need in a very, very big way, or some really bad shit's going to happen.
Gosh, I love a little art imitating life, or life imitating art. Either way, this is amazing. I have to talk to Dimitri because Anacostia is my favorite character on Motherland. Whenever Anacostia comes on, I am like, yes, such a fan favorite, and it's so easy to see why. And this past season, you spent most of your time keeping tabs on Scylla. Anacostia, soldier, takes orders. but also so keenly smart and knows that something is not quite right in Fort Salem. How has her time with Scylla working undercover changed her?
First off, let me make sure my fro is right for this answer.
You look fabulous.
Okay. That is I want to answer that on both sides of the coin. First off, Demetria working with Amalia. From the moment we met, there was that connection, not knowing that we were necessarily going to have to play enemies, or I was going to have to try to snatch her life from her love and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But just knowing that we had this connection from day one going into season 3, you know, it's always been there. And that was something that I think carried into the storyline between Anacostia and Scylla. Now, that being said, yeah, Anacostia's gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's really about making sure that the truth is at the forefront. She's not worried about person. She's not worried about feelings. She's really not worried about the surroundings. Truth is the platform that she wants put in the forefront. And I think that one of her great strengths that I have tried to glean from her is her ability to watch and listen and not say a damn thing. She takes in information. I think that's where she gets a lot of her wisdom. Yes, she was raised by Alder, the biddies. She's seen a lot. She's in this position to be in these rooms with these generals, et cetera, et cetera. But her stillness allows her to strategize. Her stillness allows her to see and therefore understand what all is working. Now, the other part of her is her ability to read people. No, she's not a seer necessarily,
Right.
but the villain is the hero in their own story, right? It takes, I mean, the villain is the hero in their own story. It takes a very specific person to be able to look into each person's story and figure out why they consider themselves the hero. And I think after a point, she realized that within Scylla, which is why she took the risk against her mother, against the military, against her former beliefs, and started conjuring up her own mentalities. So seeing her actually work in tandem with Scylla, first off, chef's kiss, loved it. Thank you for the story. We had so much fun, and also getting to see Anacostia really be vulnerable outside of the altar of it all. That was the first time, and it was an interesting twist to see that the evil brought out some of the better good in Anacostia by making her actually understand that evil isn't necessarily it and all. You know what I mean? Like, that gray that Scylla provides was really, really important for the character of Anacostia to become independent of some of the ties that she had already put herself in.
I see so much of that in you, Demetria. Like, the way you speak about Anacostia is just like, I think that's so much of where your wisdom comes from. And you seem to so greatly relate to her. And just the way that you talk about stillness and watching people and understanding people and really trying to break them up and find out the why, which Jess so aggressively denied the why of the last question. I think this is a great place for why, but you know, you're always looking for the root, and I think so many people are oblivious to that because it's easier to form your own bias when it's not muddied by other people. So that's a choice. And I think you do that so beautifully with your character. And it's like the way you talk about silence and stillness, it's just like, it's so much louder than if you had made the choice to be more involved. It reads so beautifully. Such a great choices.
Thank you. And I also, kudos to Elliot. I know we've been like, you that guy, that person, that guy, you know, you that thing. But it really does speak to the writing, you know. Me as a person, I understand that in this industry, right, in life, in our relationships, if a relationship breaks down, somebody's gonna have something to say. If this doesn't go right, somebody else is gonna have something to say. If people are just reading, seeing, they make up their own opinions. And I think it's a natural urge and a desire for all of us that people really take a moment to get to know you, not your circumstance, not what they see, not what they've heard, really give you an opportunity to show who you are. And I think, again, you know, Scylla was an exercise for Anacostia to really, really get into, because at the same time as she was starting to really make this connection with Scylla, she was losing her connection with her mother. So she lost, but she gained, she found, but she was still finding. I mean, there were just so many different levels and layers to that I've been able to take into my life. And thank you, Taylor. You know, I am a single mama. So that I think is something that I had to learn and exercise with my son. You know, there's patience, because you knew better than to do that. Why'd you do that? And then I have to he knows better, you know. So you find, huh?
I'm sorry I cut you off. I got excited.
And I hate to do this because I have to cut everybody off, actually, unfortunately. We've busted through 45 minutes already. Can you believe it?
Started.
I know. This is so sad. Oh, okay. Do we have time for maybe one more question that each of you can answer? Like
5
really quick?
more. I'm kidding.
I would love to ask each of you. I have like 20 questions that we didn't get to. All right, I'm going to start. Since we are talking to Demetra, describe season 3 in 3 words.
Still,
and this can be for your character or in general.
General, still much more.
Ooh, phrase.
All right, Ashley.
Gosh. Ludicrous. You know, it gets a little ludicrous. It'll have you on the edge of your seat. I know that's more than one word for one of them, but it's okay.
Wait, do we do edge of seat? How about that?
Edge of seat, ludicrous, edge of seat, and mysterious. It's a mystery around every corner. You got to tune in, baby, to find out what the mystery is. I'm done.
Amalia, your turn.
Unpredictable. Community. And can I steal Jess's word? Fate.
Sure.
I'm sharing that with her.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So Jessica.
Danger and destiny. Exile and eternity.
Is this a poem?
I feel
this is like a haiku happening.
I love a poem.
How do you get so many words?
I was thinking.
So three words.
That went away. The 3 thing went away.
3 words would be, let us begin.
Thank you.
Fans are going to know what that means at some point later in a great way. And then, is it my turn?
You're last, Elliot. All right, Taylor.
Oh, God. Jess, that was a great one. Riveting. Honest. Bittersweet.
Oof. Yeah. All right. And now you, Elliot.
More than 3 words, but we're going to put the evolution and revolution. Because this old world needs it.
Yeah.
And Elliot, anything from you, not to get too spoilery, but anything else you really, really want to share with the fans?
Well, I will say this, that by the end of the season, we will be rethinking what a witch even is. And we will be learning how what we think of as a witch isn't even necessarily what we thought was a witch. And we'll even learn how they had a lot to do with the formation of human language back in prehistorical times. So there's a much, much, much older story that we're revealing in this season about witch origins. And it's going to take us right to the end in a really, really big way.
I wish you guys had 10 more seasons. There's so much lore we want to explore.
Yes.
So much.
Yes, you think so much more.
So much more.
So much more.
Origin is a good word.
Origin family.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
we
Yes.
No, yes, a lot.
Well, I want to personally thank all of you. As somebody who lives very deeply in queer fandom, Motherland came at a time where we all really needed something to hold on to, something special and beautiful. And you have all created that for us. Between your friendships on and off screen, these characters, the writing, everything, you have made the last 3 years bearable for a lot of people. And this is a show that will sit with us for a very long time. So thank you to each and every one of you, and to all of you listening out there. June 21st, tune in for the premiere of the 3rd and final season of Motherland on Freeform, and then you can stream on Hulu. I almost said scream on Hulu. Please do both.
Screaming
and
too.
stream on Hulu.
Screaming out loud, baby.
And support these amazing actors and creators and friends. So thank you to you. Thank you to Outfest and Outfronts Freeform. I am DB. Everybody, thank you so much. I'm Dana Pickley. We'll see you. We'll see you at Fort Salem.
Yes.
Heck yeah, we will.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.